Well, Andy, it's our first episode of 2019.
Yeah.
What are your resolutions for the new year?
Never again. Just generally, never again.
See, what I'm thinking is I'm not going to run any more marathons. And I'm going to...
What the viewer can't see is that my microphone stand just tried to commit seppuku and attacked both Evan and I. So
our microphone is not having a great year so far.
Yeah. No, this is
like many of us. It does not enjoy the holidays.
It had a little bit too much angry eggnog, the worst kind.
And this is Bad Watch.
Yeah. It's also bad listen too. Yeah, we're keeping that.
Yep.
Edit in post.
Fix it in post. So, what did we... First of all, it's the new year. Let's remind people what we do on our beloved show that now has legions of devoted listeners.
Multitudes.
We're going to have a pledge drive soon.
Same style as WBEZ. Or it's going to be great. Yeah.
It'll be
the phone
It'll
banks.
be, instead of a tote bag, it's actually a sleeping bag. So get excited for that.
And then you can be like our hermit crab logo and crawl into our sleeping bag.
And yeah, it'll be great. But what do we do on this podcast, Andy?
I'm sorry, I'm just staring at the arm stand, just waiting for it to try and fall again. All right, so it looks like the microphone is not going to collapse on us evidently. Evan, we watch bad TV shows, and then we talk about them.
Yeah.
Just so that you don't have to, you, the listener, don't have to.
And we watch the shit out of shit. So
tasty.
Tonight, I know in our inaugural episode, way back when we were so innocent watching Hawaii Five-0, we made a joke about watching Heroes for this very podcast, and I said, oh no, we should watch the reboot that happened like 6 years after the original show was canceled. And then I had an even better idea when I learned that before this reboot that no one watched and was basically canceled immediately, they did a very short web series. And so we watched all 6 installments of the web series.
They're about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes each. And each one feels like it's a half hour of your life gone, shredded to bits. And I'm sorry, I do have to preface this. I am sorry I have a certain friend out there who, I don't know if he'll listen to this or not, but I do need to apologize because he loves Heroes. He thinks it is an excellent show. And I hate you for that.
I don't know who this friend is, but he's wrong.
He's a monster, is what he is.
I'm kind of thinking he's just trolling you about his love for Heroes because there's no way that he really thinks it's good.
Oh man.
So
Evan. Well, okay. So part of it also is Evan took a look at the price tag to watch the revamped version, which was called Heroes Reborn. It was $1.99, and that was too rich for our blood. So we decided to do the web series, which, God damn it, Evan, I'm displeased with you.
It's free, and you definitely get what you pay for.
It's like
and
extra painful.
And then you lose stuff as well. It's a really strange arrangement they have set up on Vimeo. But, so this little mini web series is called Heroes Reborn, Dark Matters. Dun, dun, dun.
Which I think is very poignant almost, because we watched Dark Matter and that was terrible, and then we're watching Heroes Dark Matters and that's also terrible. So I just luck with that name.
I love the idea that there's a physicist somewhere who's like, it shouldn't be plural.
Oh, it just makes me sad.
So The background for this web series, and we'll probably be done talking about this very quickly because it's barely 30 minutes of television that we just watched, and it's very bad television.
It felt like an hour and a half. I hate you.
It did feel very, very long. But the whole idea is that because everyone stopped watching the original Heroes before it was canceled, and now they're doing a reboot no one wanted, they have to basically explain the entire world to anyone who's thinking, Heroes Reborn sounds like a good idea.
Well, except my friend. He wanted it. He's the only one.
Please write in, Andy's friend, and tell us your thoughts on Heroes Reborn Dark Matters.
I'm not naming names just because I need to protect his anonymity. He might be applying for jobs places at any point.
And this could really count against you. Just like it being an evolved human could count against you in the Heroes universe. But we'll get to that.
You just said that and I sighed in my heart.
So... this series starts. Are you guys familiar with the group Anonymous? Where they look at a computer screen wearing a Guy Fawkes mask.
See, I thought of the Matrix, the Animatrix specifically, and the voiceover they do, and then the little sounds they're like, oh, and it just irked me that they just did it so poorly compared to something that was done cool.
The voice modulation they do, it really sounds like a SoundCloud rapper who got carried away.
It's actively difficult to understand.
Like the audio design and production is just very bad, and it's definitely difficult to understand this, I guess, narrator?
Sort of, yeah.
So we later find out his name is Hero Truther, so then it all sort of makes sense why it's hard to understand him.
That's like his handle, but he's Hero Truther.
But he's Hero Truther, full name, or I guess real name, Micah. Like Madonna, he just has the one name.
We find that out in episode 6.
Or Bono? Cher. Who are some of the other one-namers?
Oprah. She has Winfrey. Damn it!
Sting. Because you know what he's about. Stinging.
Well, and tantric sex. Those are the two things.
And singing in a way that no one understands. This Hero Truther person, he's supposed to be an anonymous lookalike because he's wearing a black hoodie with the hood up. His face is obscured. He's got voice modulation going. I was serious when I told you to go away.
Sorry.
Oh, damn.
And I stepped in Goodwatches.
Hero Truther is sitting in front of his computer screen, and he's giving us this huge exposition dump that is also very difficult to understand.
Yeah.
And
it's just
the
a poor
gist
choice
of it
overall.
is that the government... if you've seen
mutants,
Captain America,
X-Men.
Civil War, or basically any Marvel property where the government wants to regulate and sort of monitor the supers or Evos.
It's easier to just say the X-Men series if anyone's...
Yeah, but there is actually a comic in Marvel and a movie that's very good called Captain America Civil War, where the heroes fight each other because some of them think the registration with the government is a good idea and others think it's bad.
Oh.
But rather than make things ethically gray and complicated in Heroes Reborn, Dark Matters, all of the evolved humans are against this legislation.
Yeah.
Because discrimination, obviously.
They're a protected class suddenly.
Yeah, and then the view zooms out, and you realize you're looking through the viewfinder of a person's camera on their iPhone.
And then this whole thing starts.
And then it turns to the mirror, and she's like, "Hey, Quentin!" And then I was like, "Is this a found footage thing?" And then it kept going. I was like, damn it, this is a found footage thing. And it's one of the worst found footage things because...
Well, it keeps sucking you out of it. You're watching it, and then it's like, oh, this is found footage. And then all of a sudden there's a camera with on a tripod.
And you're like, wait, who's filming this part?
Yeah, it's like a weird third-party person is always present.
I thought they were just using those other two cameras, but I can see both of them in this shot.
Yeah, and no one's holding anything. Or even regular or arguments. They just set they don't even set the camera down maybe casually and then it happens to get filmed. No. It is very clearly cut to a tripod where a camera's set up and it's just like what guys what.
It doesn't make any sense. The consistency is terrible, and sometimes the video quality on the cameras is very bad. Other times it's very clearly done on NBC's cameras. But you see this woman looking in the mirror, and she's recording all of this for some reason.
I just need to say, are we gonna go this is gonna be 3 hours of exposition from you if you go at this pace. We're
I
going
do
to die
want
of old age.
I do want to introduce her shadowmancing power.
Oh, God, okay.
So she walks into the living room where her brother Quentin, who I guess is the main character of Heroes Reborn, based on how this web series ends.
I don't know. I don't think you could carry a whole show there. I don't know about that.
I'm not. No, he doesn't. I don't think he should either. But she walks out and she's like, Quentin, I need you to film me doing something. He's like, I'm a little busy, and he's just playing video games.
Yeah, the writing is excellent.
And then she's like, come on. And so he pauses the game and he's filming her. And she says, do you remember when I was a little kid and I thought I was always different? And he was like,
yeah, you wanted attention?
Yeah, you wanted attention. And I was like, oh, God, they're going to really, like, do a ham-fisted coming out of the closet metaphor. Mm-hmm. And it's really terrible. And honestly, if I were not a straight person, I would have been very offended watching this because it's so poorly handled.
So these are multiple 5 to 7 minute episodes. I think, so we watched 6 of them? It was 6.
There's 6.
I paused to like say something to Evan about what we had just witnessed, like twice, I think. Twice. Mm-hmm. Like there was not a lot of time, and I had to pause and be like, oh my God. I think one time I was like, my eyeballs rolled into my throat. Like it's bad.
It's very bad. And so he's filming her, and then she's like, do you have my shadow in the shot? You have to have my shadow in the shot. And you're like, okay. And so then he's filming her, and she closes her eyes, and you see her shadow, which at first starts normal, and then there's very bad CGI that comes in, like very noticeably.
Yeah.
And the shadow moves on its own.
And it waves.
And she waves at the camera. Yes. Shadow person waves at the camera. And Andy and I decided every time they messed up on the found footage, it was the shadow person filming.
Yeah.
The shadow person gains sentience and becomes free of its master. Mm-hmm. And frankly, shadow people should be able to vote. Yeah. I'm just saying.
They need to step forth from the shadows.
Join us, shadow people, in the light. But he's like, oh man, my sister's an Evo. That's so awesome. And that's the end. Then she goes to college. And her roommate is very attractive.
Way more attractive than her.
Yeah. Also, like, way more charismatic.
Yeah, she would have been a much more fun character. She would have been a much
more engaging lead character for this miniseries. Instead, she's
relegated
in maybe 30 seconds of each segment.
And then there's like the weird relationship continues between her, like, because so she goes to college, she meets this roommate who's cool with Evos. She's down with it. She gets it. It's all right.
Yeah, like I knew this guy in high school. He could breathe underwater or whatever. And that's literally a line of dialogue from the show.
Yeah, and then so she's like her powers are growing. There's like they start there's like governmental issues going on, and they're cracking down on Evos, and it just starts getting more intense, which is like, you know, what they want. They want to build up the tension for the real season, right? But then like this whole, it's like a weird pseudo relationship that's happening between the roommate and the main character's brother,
which is never defined.
Yeah.
But so before we get to the full weirdness of the relationship, so ostensibly the main character, Phoebe.
I didn't actually even really
Shadowmancer. Shadowmancer and Prancer.
Shadow Gal myself.
Shadow Gal. She keeps filming these videos, which you see some of the other ones, and it's like, my name is Claire Bennett, and this is my first attempt. It's like they could totally just do multiple attempts and only post the one to YouTube or whatever. Like, I don't understand why they have to say what take it is. Maybe that speaks to the mentality of the director. This is what I'm seeing.
This is my first attempt.
My first attempt.
I'm putting it out there, and I'm sorry, everyone.
I love you, Mom. Please be proud of me. And don't tell Dad that I made a bad job.
I've done a bad thing, and I'm sorry, everyone.
But so she keeps filming these videos, and she goes through her various attempts, and then she learns like her powers are growing, and she can control light and like absorb it into a black hole. It's unclear.
It looks like a black hole. I was like, this girl is going to destroy the whole planet, which is
it looks like a very small black hole. It also looked very much like they were ripping off Raven from Teen Titans, which I guess, is that on Netflix yet?
I don't think so.
Well, I guess no. Excuse me. That's Titans, and also fuck Batman. Internet kids will get it.
Well, then my favorite part is her powers are growing. She's having a nightmare, and her dreams are being acted out sort of weirdly through her subconscious. Her powers are being activated. So shadow vines are growing towards her in her nightmare and going to kill her.
Yeah.
And then her roommate wakes up and apparently turns on the camera that she has set up on a tripod angled right at her roommate. They don't bother to try and do found footage. They just let's just turn on the camera, the tripod, and do this scene.
The roommate was sleeping with her camera, as one does.
Pointed at her.
Here's her roommate screaming and thinks, I should record this, and then does so, jumps out of bed, and then wakes up her
But
roommate.
the tripod is going, it's very solid. It's set up and ready to go.
Yes. And then the
So
shadows
dumb.
recede, and Quentin, it talks to Shadow Gal, and he's like, I don't know, I think maybe you should give your powers a rest for a while. But Shadow Gal can't be stopped, and she organizes a protest of other Evos. Evos.
And they're like, oh man, this is a huge protest, and there's like 25 people
It's
there.
literally 25 or 30 people, and her brother Quentin Beard, Big Q, shows up. I think Big Q, he needs a cool nickname. He shows up and he's like, I don't know, I feel like this is getting out of hand. Like, we just talked about like video, and she's like, whatever, Big Q.
You told me to do it. Follow
Set
my
me
dreams.
free,
Stop
man.
it out. Regular,
Then-
regular teenage angsty bullshit.
Also, the roommate, pretty roommate, is there, and I think her superpower is like sheer attractiveness. Like, I think she's there, but also she has like no interiority because she's there and she's like, yeah, a lot of cute guys showed up, and it's like, okay,
That's why you're here, right? And not to support your
honestly,
friend or
this
just
is-
like what?
it was bad. And then some counter protesters come up, and are we getting topical all of a sudden? No, because
One of the
the Evos like get into fisticuffs with the counter protesters.
Except one of the Evo is a pyro and can
Yeah.
control fire.
So one of the Evos sets fire to one of the counter protester
He's
signs.
like, you're a dick.
Yeah,
it's like,
and it's like, did they have to pay a fine for the word "dick" on this web series? Like,
but I was mostly like, I wouldn't fuck with someone who can throw fire.
yeah, I wouldn't call them anything except Your Honor or something. Like, I would leave them alone as fast as possible.
My new super friend.
There's also a super who's maybe my favorite character in the whole series. Every time you see him, he is playing guitar, sitting cross-legged, and hovering 3 feet off the ground. And that's all you see of his abilities.
He's that guy at the party with the acoustic guitar, but he's 3 feet in the air. He's that guy.
So anyway, here's Wonderwall. I like to think that that's the only way he can play guitar is when he's hovering 3 feet off the ground. And
It's a subset of my superpower. I can play guitar at this height.
and also annoy everyone in a 50-foot radius. It's great.
Also, I'll steal your girl.
More Oasis, man. So yeah, he's there, and then Shadow Gal. I think she says like, stop filming or something.
Well, she wants everyone to stop fighting.
Stop fighting. She's like, but we have to make a stand.
Yeah. First she goes, we have to stand up to this.
She does that. She says that, and she stands up.
Yell,
and
stop.
She sucks the light out of the.
It's a Harry Potter moment.
Yeah, she does Dumbledore's light catcher thing from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
And everyone's like, oh, and her brother, and her eyes light up, and her brother goes, how'd you do that? And then the police are on the scene, and they arrest her.
Yeah, they literally
immediately
throw Shadow Gal onto the ground.
Like, how do you know she did anything? What are you talking
He's like,
about?
Let's go. Meanwhile, there's still a sign on fire on the ground nearby in the background, which no one seems to care about, which I would be more concerned about.
That guy lit some shit on fire, yo.
Yeah, someone talk to him.
She made some lights flicker, but there's fire. I don't know which one you think is more
Does he
important.
have his anger issues under control? I'm a little nervous about Pyro Man. Pyro Man. Anyway, so life continues as normal. I think the next episode picks up with Big Q following around Shadow Gal at an internship fair.
Well, they first they go to the government like tracks her and gets her information and gives her an ID.
That's right.
And
When she gets arrested, she gets an evolved human ID card.
And that's all they do. It doesn't even make sense. Like it's it. Like how she got arrested
there's
for
no
nothing.
indication that like
maybe
they're tracking her.
Yeah.
There's no indication that she has to show this to anyone on a regular basis.
Does she have an Evo court date? We don't know.
She does not have a... Yeah, it's very weird what the ramifications of this ID
like
card
she was arrested using
entail.
Evo powers and they gave her an ID card. That seems
And
like
honestly, it seems
not very
like you
strong.
can't prove that I was the person who Dumbledored all the lights. Like, that's a perfectly reasonable legal defense, and I don't understand how she ended up with this ID card.
Dumble what?
You can't prove it was me. Look for someone with a long white beard who maybe after the fact turns out to be gay. I don't know. The crimes of Grindelwald. Anyway, so she goes to the internship fair, and for whatever reason, Big Q, who doesn't seem to have any sort of job besides annoying his sister Shadow
Well, so their mother, she's his stepsister. Their mother has died, and her father's MIA. I'm assuming he's just living off that dead mother insurance money. That's
he seems like a Social Security child.
Yeah, super leech.
Yeah, because literally all we see him do is walk around with a camera and playing video games.
Yep.
And one time chopping mushrooms.
And then paranoia, schizophrenia happens after that.
He then goes a little crazy. He does have a nice beard, though, Big Q. But she's at this internship fair, and she walks up to a booth, and the woman seems, like, interested in hiring her. And then the woman's
she
like...
asks for ID, and she
asks for
gives her the Evo ID. It's like, you don't have any other ID?
Maybe when you get an Evo ID, you have to surrender your driver's license. Like, well, if you can fly and shit, we're not going to let you drive. We need to reduce congestion on the roads. But I guess they didn't take into account the fact that she cannot fly. It's very confusing, again, why she even has this or what its purpose is.
Yeah, it's not like... I feel like if you were going to discriminate, you'd be like, well, what's your Evo power? It's like, oh, I am able to, like what they said, one of them was heat water to room temperature levels. And it's like, oh, yeah, no, we can, that's not scary at all. We can hire you.
My kitchen sink can do that.
Yeah, that's no biggie, really. I'm not.
It's so weird.
If you want some tepid tea, I got you, boo. Like, that's really...
Coffee too hot, let me cool that down for you. But the woman takes her ID and a clipboard, stands up and turns around and comes back, and she's like... Actually, the position has been filled. And I guess this happened in the past 30 seconds or something. Yeah. And then Big Q is like, well, you know that's discrimination,
I got it all on tape.
I got all of that on tape. And then they're walking away, and Shadow Gal's like, it's okay, it's whatever.
I didn't want to work with those assholes anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to work with those losers. But then an African-American gentleman standing nearby who witnessed the whole thing, he's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it over here.
He's just casually muscular and intimidating.
They literally compare him to Blade.
Yeah.
Like,
so I wasn't joking when I said intimidating.
You just want to work for him because he looks like Blade. And she's like, yeah, that's it. And I couldn't, she's such a bad actor, I couldn't tell if that was the sarcasm or if that was really why she wanted to work there.
I'm right there with you. I couldn't tell either.
It was a real uncanny valley situation where I was very unsure what I was supposed to get from this exchange. But she then goes home to Big Q's place, or whoever's paying his rent, and because it's not Big Q.
Dead mama.
Dead mama. Yum.
That was not where I wanted to go with that, but all right.
It's the Red Robin theme. Anyway.
I know, but...
Maybe that's Big Q's power, is he's a cannibal. Anyway, for whatever reason, to continue this whole bullshit found footage conceit, she is filming him cooking dinner, I think only because she's planning on having a serious conversation with him afterwards about her powers. And she's like, I want to go to the Odessa summit. And he's like, I don't think you should. And she gets mad and breaks a light.
And throws a teenage temper tantrum.
Yeah. And at this point, we're like, well, I guess she is supposed to be a freshman in college.
Yeah.
So
maybe, but not
she
really.
looks like 28.
Yeah.
And Big Q is like 34.
Oh, he's up. He's like going great.
And Pretty Roommate, I would put it 23, 24?
24, 25, somewhere there.
Yeah. She's a 20-something. They're all 20-somethings at this college campus for whatever reason. They all took many gap years. But then the next episode, Big Q is like, Shadow Gal won't text me back. She won't talk to me. and I don't know what's going on. And then he barges into her college dorm room because I guess he has a key. It's unclear how.
Yeah, he does they just leave the door unlocked because
they're
girls are
college
unsafe
kids.
and no one cares.
No one worries about that anymore at colleges. That's not a thing.
Yeah, that's no.
And she's like, "What's going on, Big Q?" And
she's like okay with him just being there.
Have you heard about what have you heard from Shadow Gal? Like she doesn't talk to me. And he's like, she's not here. And then
she went for a job, and then she rummages in a drawer and finds the card that the
that's right.
Blade guy gave to her.
And he says he looks at the card and he's like, I know this guy. And it's like, no, you really don't, because you definitely just compared him to Blade.
That's the only info you have on him.
You do know his name and where he works, but you don't know him.
Yeah, so she went to work for him, the Blade 2's company. And
then fortuitously, Big Q gets a phone call from an unknown number in Texas. And she says, Big Q, are you there? I don't know if I can do this. And then there's very clearly a sound of a phone getting stomped on. But nevertheless, Big Q tries to call him back, and he's like, we got to get down there. And it's like a payphone at a gas station.
Yeah, he goes in, the guy's all shifty.
The guy, I don't think they trusted this gas station actor with any lines, because he just looks shifty the entire time while he's like ringing something up. It's unclear what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And then they look up to the TV in this very tiny gas station, and who do they see on the news? Shadow Gal.
Yeah.
And
she's manhandled into
being manhandled by Blade into the Odessa summit, which is also in Odessa, Texas, not Odessa, Ukraine.
And my response to that was, why would anyone hold any sort of summit in Odessa? Like, I was like,
there are so many other
known for the international.
If it has to be in Texas, there are so many other places you would pick first.
My only thought is they would just got a lot of money to say the name Odessa or something. That's the only thing.
Odessa, Texas would put up big product placement money.
Population 7 plus the crew from this TV show. I don't really get it.
It's very strange. But anyway, Big Q and Allie, who I guess left college to go on this adventure with her former roommate's older brother.
Yeah, like, that's so still.
This is where their relationship starts to get very weird.
Like Evan and I were like, are they dating?
Are they
like,
are they together?
Why is she invested in this?
Like, she honestly seems very motivated to keep Big Q alive.
Yeah,
more so than like any interest in Shadow Gal.
Yeah, no, she's like, oh, she's gone. Like you just
she's gone.
Yeah, people just disappear. It's cool. It's fine.
We leave the door unlocked. We come and go as we please. We don't file missing persons reports. Everything's great.
No, it's cool. But Quentin, I'm worried about you. Like, it's like, what, are you together now?
It's very confusing.
So vague.
Also, if they are dating, he's punching way above his weight class. Yeah. I just want to put that out there.
By like a factor of 10. Like,
he's playing t-ball and she's pitching major league in a World Series. Okay, guys. So then they're driving to the summit, and there's all this traffic, and they're at a standstill, and like it's when the traffic is so bad, people are getting out and walking. But at this point, there's literally only 6 cars on the road. Like you never see an overhead shot of like just a gridlock of traffic. Yeah. You see maybe a handful of other dudes walking by.
I think they just FX the rest of them in. I don't think they're like, we can't afford that many to pull.
And then they're like, well, we gotta get out of here and do something. And then all the light gets sucked out of the sky.
And the craziest part is there's actually an eclipse is what happens. So
which is a big plot point in the original series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the very first episode.
Okay.
That's like when a bunch of people get their powers.
But she is apparently, in one time she says, I have the power to control light and shadow. She can also control, where the moon is.
Her powers have gotten so strong in the past 3 days she's been missing. She can literally control the Milky Way galaxy.
It's a little bit crazy. Like, I don't know why they chose that. Like, you could have just made the sky dark. No, they decided to do that. It just hurts my brain.
Somehow physicists have become the nemesis of this podcast without us even trying. But then when they see the light getting sucked out of the sky through the moonroof in his Jeep or whatever, who, again, he definitely didn't pay for that. He's like, it's Shadow Gal. And they literally, Allie, the roommate, is like, wait for me. And this made me so mad because they totally break the found footage. Well, they've already broken the found footage conceit.
There's a good reason why.
She sets down the camera in the car And that's where
they both get out and run. She sets on the camera. This is like the only time someone's like actually like, oh, found footage. You done that really?
Yeah, which they have not done at all up until this point.
So it's like that's maddening. But then it's like, oh, the only reason they did that is because they're gonna try and do a bunch of effects, and it's really cheaper if they don't film it. So they they have them run out. There's an explosion, and then they get back in the car.
Because all of a sudden you see the steering wheel in Big Q's car. Then and then equally suddenly, it becomes completely computer generated, and then there's a big flash of light, and you're looking at the real steering wheel again. And then they run back in the car and they drive away, and they go to the hospital to see if Shadow Gal's been admitted. And then all of a sudden on the news it says...
So this is like probably what, like 10 minutes after the event? It's
literally, there's a bunch of people waiting in the ER to be admitted.
There's
and they're
people
all
coming
bloody.
in, on stretchers.
Yeah, the ambulances are still arriving, and all of a sudden the news has all of the information about this incident where they're like, we've identified...
And these are the 10 bombers, they said.
The architect of the attack, as well as the 10 bombers who committed suicide at the incident. And the first person they put up on the screen... Also, they know they have their names and their photos. It's Mohinder Suresh or Suresh Mohinder.
Something like that, but he was. I definitely remember him from the first season.
He was a character in the original Heroes.
I guess I should say, so I have seen part of the first season of Heroes, which I hated.
I was a younger person, and I watched all of the first season. I watched 2 episodes of the second season, and I was like, I'm out. I hate this. Mohinder Suresh, he's a very handsome Indian gentleman. He's also on one of my favorite episodes of Psych, if you're a fan of that show. That's a good watch. Junior. Anyway.
Goodwatch Junior?
Goodwatch Junior.
It's a baby Goodwatch.
It's a little baby. Then he's like, no, it can't be. And then the next thing we see is Big Q literally talking to the camera saying like... I know she's still out there. I'm going to exonerate Shadow Gal. And then
there's like a beautiful mind thing that's just starts happening.
There's a beautiful mind thing. He has the classic conspiracy bulletin board with the newspaper clippings and the thumbtacks and the many colors
weird
of yarn.
stuff on like the other walls too. Evan noticed.
Then he expands past his conspiracy bulletin board just to paste things on the walls nearby.
It cannot contain me.
Then there's a poster.
This conspiracy.
There's literally a poster. There's no text on it. It's just black and white, and it's images of different types of knives.
And then like a bone saw at the bottom.
There's a bone saw,
like,
a meat cleaver,
Who
just
has
like your
that?
standard chopping knife. And the set decor, I just loved it so much. Them and Oasis guy, the hovering guitar dude. They're so great. But so Allie shows up at Big Q's place, and she's like, you need to like get out of the house.
Yeah, like, or still, what is the relationship?
And it's unclear
like, why does
what
she
she's
give
doing.
a shit?
She just shows up, and again, she just walks in.
Yeah.
And I was like, does she live here?
So they must be doing it in order for her to have a key. Like, that's a big step.
I bet she has a drawer in his place.
Got a drawer. Yeah.
And they just have left Shadow Girl's room untouched from how she left it when she went to college.
Oh, that's the only way Q gets up in the morning anymore.
And then sometimes, independent of each other, they go in and sniff Shadow Gal's pillows. Just to remember what she smells like, but the smell's starting to fade. And then she leaves.
But the shadows are strong.
Yeah, she leaves because Big Q's a hot mess.
She casts a long shadow.
Oh, poor Shadow Gal. Allie, pretty roommate, leaves because she doesn't have time for this nonsense. And then
she's gonna find a real man, I guess. I don't know. Like, what?
But then she comes back later, so that's bullshit. Then Big Q keeps talking to his own camera and talks about someone called Hero Truther, and he references a book written by
unpublished, but it's all the truth.
Suresh. It's unpublished, but it's all true about how he believes that Evos are meant to protect the human race or something.
Which is a weird belief.
It's a weird take.
Evolution doesn't really care about protecting
It's
things.
definitely survival of the fittest, which in this case would be the Evos, not the normies. The Muggles.
Yeah.
Death to all Muggles.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I wanted to point out at the protest we discussed earlier, there was definitely a sign that said "Powers to the people," and also there was another classic "God hates Evos."
Yeah.
And I was really hoping for one like Adam and Eve, not Adam and Evo. Like it was that level of bad. Oh God, I would have loved that so much. So he's talking to himself, and he says, Hero Truther on this website. I can need to talk to him, and we can exonerate Shadow Gal. And then all of a sudden, Hero Truther, like, he sees his own bat signal. He sees the Hero Truther signal in the sky.
Basically, he is Batman because he's listening on every device everywhere, and it's really...
Spoiler for The Dark Knight, I guess.
This is the guy who is railing against the government and their invasion of privacy when they gave Evo's IDs. So
Yeah, and
he's basically his own monster.
And he doesn't have a Mr. Fox to, like, tell him when he's gone too far or to give him a cool helicopter. But then... Hero Truther shows up on Big Q's computer screen, and they're having like a Skype conversation, except it's happening through Hero Truther's abilities.
Yeah.
And then
my eyes are rolling. You can't see them, but they are rolling.
And Hero Truther says, "I can get you into Renatus, but I can't do anything else." And Renatus is the internship Shadow Gal went to before she disappeared at the summit.
Yeah.
So then we see Big Q show up for an interview, looking pretty sloppy. He's not wearing a suit. His shirt is not tucked in.
Yeah,
It was really weird. But it was so funny because they were like, we're a hip startup. Check out our foosball table.
Look at these super weirdly comfortable
our
couches.
quirky lounge chairs. You guys like dogs? We don't have the budget for them in this show, but you can definitely bring them to the office. And then he's like, he calls Allie again, and he apologizes, and she's like, I'm sorry, too.
He's like, I got a job. You should just... And she comes over, and he's like, look at my life. I'm doing all right.
And then
she's like, where'd you get to work? And
they
shows
literally
the badge.
walk back into the main room of this apartment, and she sees that he still has his conspiracy board, and he's made additions.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want any part of this. You crazy, son. And, yeah. Then he goes to work, and he... very poorly. He walks into their server room at Renatus.
Well, first he gets commissioned a mission to extract data because Hero Truther can't get the data from Renatus to prove that they're bad guys.
Hero Truther makes up some bullshit about his powers by saying, if I break through their firewall,
They
I
can
make
attack me.
myself vulnerable. Which I think is actually true in a hacking programming
But
sense.
he's like...
But he's a human being with powers.
Yeah.
So what can he do
He can touch a screen and like project stuff onto it, which is just
all I'm
that's
saying
crazy.
is I'll take Lisbeth Salander any day over this bullshit Hero Truther fellow. Mm-hmm. So he's in Renatus because he works there, and he goes into their server room with a big ski mask on. He opens up a laptop, and this is where another found footage moment that really bugged me, because all of a sudden it's as if the laptop's webcam is recording him.
And we're seeing from the security footage, like
Yeah.
from Renatus, so it's like, so we hacked them, but we didn't.
We're led to believe all throughout this that Big Q is a documentary filmmaker putting all of this together, which that can't be the case.
Well,
But
no,
anyway.
his sister was giving him crap because she was like, oh, now you're a documentary film. So he was just playing around.
I got all this on tape, It's discrimination. And he gets some files, something called Coyote Sands. There's a file on...
I'm sure these are all like teasers
Mohinder
and stuff
Suresh,
for...
and a file
for
on
anyone who's
Noah
familiar.
Bennett, which if you watched Original Heroes, he was the dad of the cheerleader who was actually working to hunt down the evolved humans. And I'm not sure what he did with them, but he was bad. But then he went good, I think.
He's bad
part of the
good.
reason Heroes was canceled was because it was very confusing and poorly written. And I don't think anyone really knows what happens at the end of it.
Oh my goodness.
But he downloads this stuff, and he escapes by pushing a security guard against the wall, and he says, "You ever met a pyro, Evo?" And he holds a little Bic lighter up to the security guard's ear, which there's a hilarious moment where he can't get it to light immediately, and I'd be like, what? Like, you're not a pyro, that's a lighter. Like, I can smell the butane. Like, it's very
no, my Evo power is butane fire.
And then Big Q's running away after he escapes. He's like, I can't believe that worked. It's like, neither can I,
no
Big
one
Q.
else could either.
Neither can I.
We are all impressed.
And he goes to Hero Truther's secret hideout, but somehow leads the Renatus people there.
They thank him. Thank you for your help in tracking down.
They tase Hero Truther, and also they show Big Q footage of his sister in just like a cell.
Yeah, well, Hero Truther does before they assault them. He's like, this was taken 2 weeks ago. Your sister's alive.
Yeah, and then Renatus busts in and breaks up the party.
But Q gets away.
Big Q gets away, and he ends by finding Noah Bennett, now named Ted Barnes, also Salesman of the Month at his new car dealership job, which that's a weird career change. He goes from hunting adolescent teens with mutant abilities to the selling Cadillacs.
Well, they both require a level of intimidation.
Well, it was so funny too because in the original series, there's this so much is made about the Noah Bennett's horn-rimmed glasses. Oh. And this one, it's like, oh, I had LASIK done. Because he's not wearing any sort of glasses at all. But that was his defining character trait, was the glasses.
Oh,
in the
really?
original
Okay.
Series. Yeah.
I want to say I should go back and watch it,
really
but I
shouldn't.
I remember how much I hated it.
Thankfully, Zachary Quinto has gone on to better things. Milo Ventimiglia has not. And that's pretty much all you need to know. And that's where Heroes Reborn, Dark Matters ends.
Thank God.
Now, before we get to predictions for what happens in Heroes Reborn proper, do you want to know who our sponsor is this week?
Oh, I'm so excited.
It's a little company called Accenture. And no, I don't mean the employer of that douchebaggy bro you met at the upscale sports bar over New Year's weekend. I mean Accenture, because it's an online service that helps you perfect your that accent you've been dying to try out at the office. And so, like, maybe you want to have a posh British accent, or maybe you want something a little more Cockney.
Oh no!
Or maybe you just want to sound like you're from the deep south and you got molasses dripping out of your mouth. Either way, Accenture's instructors will help you nail the accent of your choice. And some of the instructors are big names like Paul F. Tompkins, Maz Jobrani, that guy who plays Loki in the Avengers, Tom Hiddleston. And they wanted to get Kevin Spacey, but then realized he was a monster, so they got the guy who taught Kevin Spacey all his accents. I love that woman. I love her more than sharks love blood. So anyway, if you go to accentshore.com/badwatch, that's ACCENTSURE.com/badwatch, which hopefully you know how to spell, you can get 10% off your first accent course.
My face hurts from my grimace. I hate you.
Paul F. Tompkins has a killer set of accents at his disposal.
I love him.
As does Maz Jobrani.
I hate you, but I love him.
Well, go take lessons from them with Accenture. Now, predictions for Heroes Reborn. Honestly, it could go in so many different directions. I'm not sure.
One of my directions that I hope it goes in is Shadow Gal isn't invited back to the cast. She's just never mentioned again.
She's so uninteresting, uncharismatic, a poor actor. For Allie's sake, the pretty roommate, I hope she's in it a lot because she has...
she's charismatic.
She's very... And what we mean by that is she has incredible legs. It's really the long and short of it. And mostly long because they're... Anyway.
They do a couple of the hand cam shops. It's like... I was like, there are the legs. There they go. Yep.
They're some very gratuitous pretty roommate butt shots.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man.
So we'll probably get more of those. I do hope they drop the found footage conceit, though, because they do such a poor job of it.
Stick to it. If you're gonna do it,
if you're gonna do it, really try and do it. Yeah. Don't bullshit it half the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? I think what's gonna happen is that we're gonna learn Noah Bennett, aka Ted Barnes, is actually an Evo himself, and his superpower, finding other Evos. He's like Caliban from the X-Men. He can track.
Wait,
other
wasn't
dudes.
that his power? Someone had that power in.
Oh, then maybe I'm not
season.
making a prediction as so much remembering the show. Oops. Listeners, write in. Actually, don't. We don't care.
Just kidding. I don't care.
But now it's time for Goodwatch. And speaking of the X-Men Caliban, I would like to recommend the movie Logan, which is an amazing film that is rated R. It is very violent. I didn't know it was rated R when I started watching it. I was like, wow, this is extremely violent. And I was like, I can't believe the library just let me have this for free. Don't worry, I returned it, guys. But it's really, really good. I mean, I think Hugh Jackman is an incredible actor, although he's made some weird career choices, like the World's Greatest Showman or whatever the hell that was supposed to be. But he's extremely talented, and he's extremely good as an aging Wolverine. And not Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart is an amazing Professor X in this.
With like he's suffering from like dementia, right? It's so good.
It's so amazing, and it really moved me in so many ways I was not expecting from a superhero film.
Yeah, right?
And which they so rarely are able to do.
Kind of covering new terrain.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So Logan, go check it out if you're old enough to watch rated R films. And that's something you're into. You know what? I'm going to let Andy talk now.
So my good watch is I was having a conversation with a coworker, and then I was mentioning movies because I love to watch movies, and my wife doesn't so much. So something that we watched, I think this is like a year and a half, 2 years ago. We watched. I made my wife sit down and watch Casablanca, and I know that's like
so good.
I know that's an amazing classic, and everyone's seen it except for those who haven't.
Except for those people who haven't and for some reason refuse to.
So,
AKA my girlfriend who thinks it's boring because it's in black and white, and it's really upsetting to me.
Yeah. So I want to go ahead and recommend Casablanca to anyone who hasn't seen it because it is excellent, and you need to be a well-rounded individual. And Humphrey Bogart, while being a raging alcoholic, is phenomenal.
He's truly amazing in it.
And who's
the actor who plays the Frenchman in it is also great. The guy who plays Sam the pianist is also super good.
The whole cast is excellent.
It's really fun. Just go
it's an
watch
amazing
it.
love story.
It'll be the start of a beautiful friendship. Here's looking at you, kid.
Play it again, Sam. Like how many more do they?
And that's all I got.
Yeah, I think those are the main ones.
But this has been Bad Watch.
It has.
He's Andy.
That guy's Evan.
And don't watch Heroes Reborn, probably. We're going to go out on a limb. That's our prediction.
Don't watch the webcast. Web series.
You definitely don't do that. Okay, bye.
Bye.
I've seen fire, I've seen rain.
I don't know if
I've seen Heroes Reborn, and I thought I would go insane.
Hey, honey.
Hi.
I've seen Allison come into her house, and she was trying to be quiet as a mouse.
You sound good, Evan. You sound good.
That's my sister and Andy's wife, everybody.
Yeah.
She was off doing philanthropy stuff, I think.
Yeah. That's what we tell people.
Yeah.
Okay, this is our show. You don't get to talk about your
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't think you want me to say anything. So
No, I was doing a bit. I'm proud of you though. Now go away.
Okay.